Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with my guy, Troy Nash. Big Bank. He makes his ring return April 4th in Texas on the Red Owl card that will be broadcasting on DAZN. How excited are you to be back, man?
Man, I'm super excited. I'm ready to go out there, put on another show. Last fight, everybody was going crazy in there. Like the atmosphere was crazy when I got the knockout. So I'm just ready to go put on another great performance.
How did that feel? Because you got him out in 2 rounds, and
Yeah.
you got to finally get somebody like out. I know you've probably done some of that in the amateurs, but professionally, it feels completely different.
Yeah, man, it felt great. My first two fights were different. It wasn't hard to get them out of there, but it was different. I was still kind of used to being an amateur a little bit, but now I'm a real professional now. Like I could feel the actual difference from being a professional and an amateur. So it was a great experience, and I'm ready to keep going.
You know, I've been kind of telling a lot of the viewers, it's amateurs, styles make matchups and all this stuff,
Right,
but it's essentially you're the guy that beat the guy that beat the guy when it comes to hype. You
right.
beat Zaquan Moses in amateurs, who beat Cormel Moulton, so 15-time national amateur champion, and now you're going on your fourth fight. What's different in this situation that's going preparing you for this fight?
Um, Say that last part again one more time.
Oh, I said what was different in this camp, your situation? Like what's different from your third fight going into your fourth fight?
Oh, okay. So what's different is I got a little more experience now in the professional, so I know things that I don't need to do and things that I need to do. I wouldn't say it's really too much of a difference though, because every fight I'm gonna train my hardest and I'm gonna do what I need to do. But they're just now that I got a little more experience in the pros, I know certain little things I need to do. That's pretty much it.
Did you get a chance to spar some new guys? Work with some different type of people? Because I know you've been in a ring with some pretty talented names. What I'll eventually bring up.
Um Not really. Kind of been sparring the same circle of people just recently, and
Hmm.
not nothing crazy different. Not yet.
Hmm. You reside and you were born in Colorado Springs, right?
Yeah,
And that's a place where if people's been living in for rock, that's where a lot of the elites go. If they're training for a big championship fight or even just for the Olympics, you're kind of like born into boxing by essentially being born there. Um, to kind of elaborate a little bit more about that, just what was your first experience kind of like stepping into like that type of amateur pedigree around the Colorado Springs, or what was your first interaction with some top guys when you first started boxing?
my very first time really going to the boxing gym, I met Adrian Broner when he was like on top of the world. I think he was getting ready for the Antonio DeMarco fight, and it was like around December 2012. So it was like my first time really being in the gym, and I was seeing him, E Bunny, Robert Eastern, Rasheen Warren, Jamel Herring, all of them. So my first time going to the gym, I was already around some of the best boxers. So being in Colorado, you're gonna see a lot of great talent when they come out here. We're our state like I'll say this, like Colorado is big on fighters coming out here to train and stuff, but we don't have like a big super boxing crowd ourselves. Like it's not too many fighters from Colorado that you can name, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the West Coast, like Big Bear, right? A lot of people go out and
Right.
train Big Bear, but who's the champion out of Big
Yeah,
Bear?
exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, exactly. Just like that.
That's pretty cool, and I mean, it sounds like you were around the Mike Stafford, rest in peace,
Yeah, Mike Stafford. Yeah.
his whole squad, and that was that squad back in the day, and
Yeah.
putting on Ohio specifically. And
Yeah.
another person who obviously goes to Colorado Springs, who's probably getting ready to go out there. Um, well, actually, I think a few guys, maybe, I'm not sure, but Terence always goes out to Colorado Springs. He's probably going to go. And in that process of him training for his last fight, he went out there and he sparred Andre Ward, I believe, right?
Right. Yeah, I was there for that.
That's what I was going to ask. You were
Yeah.
like probably like the 4 or 5 people that were in that gym, right? I know
Yeah.
Shakur was on FaceTime. He was watching through a cell phone, but you were present. And
Yeah.
I guess without going into the sparring specifics, like what was that like?
And it was like class was in session, man. It was watching two greats in there, their IQ. Uh Ward, he's still like in pretty much fight shape where I feel like he could beat a lot of the top fighters at his weight class right now still. It was great, I was watching so many different things and learning so much when they spar, so it was a great session for sure.
You know, I guess because that's like pay-per-view worthy, just sparring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Two elite guys. When you saw those two guys get in there, was that something that you walked out of there and you were like, oh my God, like there's so many new things I gained from that I'm gonna try, or maybe you tried in your last fight.
Yeah, shoot. Just watch like
Hmm.
during I seen a couple of things. I'm like, damn, I got to take that in and put that into my game. So like as the sparring was going on, I was doing that, and then afterwards, me, my dad, and my uncle, we were all talking like that was some crazy work right there. We're gonna steal this and add this into our game.
You know, before I go into the ultimate question, what is your relationship with Terrence and Dre, just to be like in that environment because no one's going to be able to just walk in there and sit without people getting kicked out. I'm sure there was a whole bunch of people getting kicked out in the process of them wrapping their gloves.
So with Bud, I say Bud's like a uncle slash big bro, if you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Ever since I met Bud, he's always showed me love. Bud is like one of the realest people in boxing, and I'm not really too super cool with a lot of boxers, but it's like when it comes to Bud, that's like family. Bud always shows me love. The whole B&B camp, they all show me a lot of support, love. So I mess with them the long way. But Bud, he's a great dude for sure. And then with Dre, I think that was my first time ever meeting Dre, but he's a
Hmm.
super cool dude as well. We got to talk for a minute, so he's pretty cool as well though.
That's pretty awesome, and he was in the Olympics, so he had to come through, your hometown and
Yeah.
kind of get his rounds in through Colorado Springs. So, um, like you were bringing up, like how Ward even today could compete with guys at like 168, or he was a champion at 175 and crushed the crusher, at that
Yeah.
point and was unified. You know, y- the big storyline now is that can Terence Crawford, this guy who started his career around 135, go up to 168? I mean, we was sparring and working with the last 168, 175 great. So is it possible from what you got to see, or just, like you call him like big
Yeah.
uncle, big brother, like can he do this Canelo Alvarez after watching that sparring?
Yeah, I don't want to sound biased just because I know him and I'm cool with him. But Bud actually has a chance of really winning this fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Hmm.
Canelo, yeah, he probably people think he's probably the stronger person going into the fight with him, been fighting at 168, but he started his career off at I think 147 and climbed his way up. So it's not like he was just a person that came in the game that big. Um, Bud is ready though. Like when it comes for fight time, I think Bud's gonna be 100% ready. He trains year round. Like he shows a lot of the young fighters the way. He treats his body good. He doesn't drink, smoke, none of that. So when it's time to fight in a few months and we get to watch them work, I think Bud got a great chance of winning that fight.
I know, it's definitely going to be presented as a fight where whoever wins that fight, right? And I know Canelo is definitely going to be the favorite. It kind of
Right,
like puts like a stamp, like post Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao era, right? And I
right,
think Canelo can claim that, and
yeah,
because he's been fighting literally immediately after them at that type of top level.
right.
But if Terrence beats Canelo, it kind of like engulfs Canelo's era, right? Would you say? And it kind of, would you say then it's from Floyd
Uh,
to Crawford? Would you say
yeah.
it kind of goes like that, or?
I'll say this is like the Bud and Canelo era. Canelo, he's slept on, man. He doesn't get enough respect and credit for what he's
Hmm.
done. Canelo's fought, I mean, arguably the best fighters of this generation around his weight class. Of course we want to see him fight Benavidez, but besides that, I mean, who hasn't Canelo fought? He went up to fight Bivol. he fought Caleb Plant.
Mhm.
He's been fought all the top guys, so he definitely deserves his credit. And even if he loses this fight, he still needs to be deemed as one of the greatest of our generation. If Bud loses, he needs to be deemed as one of the greatest of our generation. The fans just need to give both of them their credit, win or
Mhm.
lose, because they're going to give us the fight that we want to see.
You know, at this point, if Terrence wins, just retire, right? Like, there's really no more unless he wants to fight like King Kong himself, right?
Right.
If Canelo, I know he has a 4 fight contract, but after, the 4 fight contract, do you feel like he should bow out as well?
Uh, yeah. For Bud, uh, win or lose Bud this fight, he doesn't even need this fight to be deemed as one of the greatest of this generation.
Hmm.
He could retire today and he'll be talked about forever. So this fight is just a bonus to his legacy right here. So this is really just a him. I feel like wanting to go out and show that he's one of the he is the best of this generation. This will put the stamp on it. And for Canelo, this is just one of those. The fans keep talking, so let me show them something. I think that's one of those with Canelo.
You feel that as a fight fan, right? And
Right.
obviously there's going to be bias, right? Obviously we're going to love to see Terrence get that opportunity, but Terrence has it. Do you think David Benavidez at some point has to have his opportunity with Canelo? Or is it more respectful that like it's Terrence and Canelo based off their age and the type of accomplishments they've done that this fight is a little bit more, I guess, well deserving, I guess, to be made?
I feel like it's a right now type of fight. Bud is the best fighter in the world. Canelo's the one of the best fighters in the world. They're both like top five,
Hmm.
regardless of what anybody says. They're both top five fighters in the world right now. Top three, really. So why not make the fight happen right away, right now? And then next, Benavidez and Canelo. That could happen next.
My last couple questions this segment on more of like the technical aspect of the fight. How do you think the fight actually plays out? Do you think Terrence is going to box, and move primarily? You think he's going to have to sit and trade with him at times to get some respect? Or you think he's just going to just fight him and he actually surprise people like, hey, which I don't think so, but just adding to the question, like, what do you think the game plan is?
Um, Honestly, to be honest with you, I really don't know what's gonna happen in that fight because
Hmm.
the B&B team they're gonna come up with a crazy game plan. So I wouldn't be surprised if he walks him down or if he box or sits there. I really don't know what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna have to find out because they're gonna come up with a nice game plan for sure.
And I guess my last question is, I've seen things Terrence do in the ring that I kind of like raise my eyebrow, like, damn, this dude really strong. Yeah,
Right.
I know they say that, size, weight classes for a reason. In
Right.
this case, is it skills pay the bills, or is there really the case that size is going to play a big part?
I think it's a little bit of both. Skill for skill, I think that Bud has an edge on Canelo, but with Canelo, quote unquote, being a stronger fighter going into this fight, it's like even. It's like evened out.
Hmm.